I ain't want to interrupt the show. Just definitely hopping up to support you.
Yeah, go ahead, and you know how it go. You the bro. You are a big bro.
Shout out to Amore L. Appreciate you for stopping through the stream. Please hit that like button on Facebook. You can also come and
There
join
it
us.
is. There it is.
Make sure you come through, love, and subscribe to Moving Without Motions if you haven't already. If you have already, we appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Indeed.
I
Peace and
just got the
blessings, everyone coming
notification that
in.
you was live. It said World Class is live right now.
Uh-oh.
Absolutely. Everybody that came from everybody from my channel, definitely come over here. I'm about to hop on that. And, put the link and everything, so y'all can just come
Cool,
over here.
cool.
But go ahead. I ain't about, don't let me run your show. Interrupt
No,
you.
no, no. You good, you good. Thank you
I
for
told him
holding
he
it
big
down.
bro. That's how big bro. She always say my big bro.
Big little bro. Little big bro.
Big
'Cause
little bro. Yeah, she always put the little in there. I don't understand
he,
that part.
he younger than me. He's
That's
not
my
older than me.
that's my big baby sister.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
wow.
What we gonna do? What we gonna do with him? So yeah, y'all. Make sure y'all check out the World Class. He is always going live, always putting out good information for everyone to be able to
Yeah, we
digest
got
and analyze.
yeah, we definitely got some good stuff coming in the future. I'm about to get in my bag on this
Uh oh,
mindset stuff.
it's on and popping, y'all. Y'all get ready for it. So yeah, we was going in on this Negro burial ground, and the crazy thing about it is they jumped from 400 bodies or skeletal remains to over 10,000 at the corner of Folly Square. That's impossible. The reason why, like I was saying, the reason why they stopped the excavation is because they would have had to excavate all of Manhattan. Over 10,000 bodies.
Jesus
They
Christ.
knew that Manhattan had all of those remains and they built over top of it. Um,
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyway, it's just like uh, when they had the whole, thing that was going on where everybody had to get shut in. And when that was going on, they was burying all of the bodies from Rikers Island, and it was just like they all had these wooden caskets and had the inmates out there just putting, casket on top of casket. It was crazy. I don't even think they came out with the numbers yet of how many inmates that actually died in the past couple of years due to this whole, thing that they had going on, the pandemic thing they had going on. But yeah,
Mm.
it's crazy how they jumped from 400 bodies at the so-called African American burial ground to over 10,000.
What time frame is this? I came in a little late.
Yeah, so they're saying that they started doing excavations back in the 80s.
Oh wow. Oh jeez. All right.
Yeah, they started doing excavations back in the 80s. They did it for years and then they stopped because they said that they had to stop. They wasn't allowed to go any further, and they estimated some over 10,000 burial grounds that they found, or remains in the burial ground that they found.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're not going to jump from 400. First, they said 400. And then at the very end of the video that I showed, that's when they came on and said over 10,000. So you don't jump over, from 400 to over 10,000.
Right.
That's impossible. Yeah, that math just ain't mathing right at all. But
That's
nobody,
that's that's the math with an F.
yeah, Man, look, I don't even know what type of math that is. That's the type of math I don't even want to be a part of. They ain't mathing like that. Yeah, I'm good on that type of math. But yeah, so we're gonna go in and share some more about this whole Negro problem that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was teaching us about and going in on. So here is the Folly Square, the Folly Square. Let's see, the Folly Square construction. So it's the Folly Square construction project in the historic African burial ground in New York. It's crazy that they
Mm.
call it African. It's crazy that they call it African American, and it's crazy how they are actually like showing you how denationalization goes right in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm gonna go down some,
Folly is hilarious.
bro.
Folly's
That's the crazy part that it's in Folly Square at in any place that it can be. It's in Folly Square.
right. They never intended. I'm just what I be telling people about words. They never expected or intended to have us being able to read. That's why they do
Man,
what they do.
I don't think that the I really don't believe that they thought that we was ever gonna figure it out. You know, like one day we was just gonna start to wake up and just figure out all of this. Like, hold on, this just don't make logical sense. Like, as if we was gonna stay sleep forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that they figured that thought that we was able to do it. So it
Or they
says,
had.
go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
And I was just gonna go in and read this part. So right, this is talking about the committee. Right, so it says the committee met pursuant to notice at 9:04 a.m. at the ceremonial courtroom, Court of International Trade, One Federal Plaza, New York. Right, it says present Representative Savage and Duncan, also present Representative Owens, Rangel, and Towns. Mr. Savage's hearing is of the Sixth Subcommittee on Public Buildings and Grounds of Public Works and Transportation Committee of the United States House of Representatives will now come to order. We are here today because of concern being expressed over the plans and the conduct of constructing a new federal courthouse and office building at Folly Square, particularly because of the concern expressed by Mayor Dinkins of New York. I want to say that we will hurry along with regard to our own opening observations because the mayor must leave very shortly for another engagement. And I want to thank him for with short notice adding this hearing to his schedule. Right, so they're on there saying, "Look, Mayor, look, shout out to you for coming through. We appreciate you. Let's get this thing going." Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to jump to where they go in and start talking about it being a Negro burial ground, right? It says, "I am delighted to be here as Chairman Savage and Congressman Duncan. I thank you for the opportunity to testify this morning on the Negro burial ground." So how did it get from Negro burial ground to African American burial ground or to African burial ground? Shout out to everybody that's coming on. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you all like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you. All right, so it says, as many of you know now, several hundred years ago, slavery was common in this region, and Africans in our city were second class citizens in death as well as in life. So, how you like
Mm.
you see that?
That's crazy.
it's called the Negro burial ground, but you keep coming back to talking about some Africans. It's like every time we turn around, it's a ongoing uh, program to just constantly denationalize us, right? So
Mm-hmm.
from Moors to Indians, from Indians to Negroes, Negroes to color, color to blacks, blacks to African Americans. Like the list goes on and on and on. Now today, they don't even want you any of that. They want you to be transhuman. So you to trans whatever.
Facts. Facts. Fucking transhumans. Well,
Today it's like, oh no, you trying to be what?
all
No,
right.
you trying to be a woman? No, no, ma'am, you not no woman. You a cis woman. You a this woman. You a that woman. You ain't no. Oh wow, it's crazy. They don't even want you to be human anymore. They want to.
Exactly.
Back then, it was about just you getting rid of nationality. Now it's about we don't even want you to be human anymore.
Indeed.
Wow, the programming is crazy. So it says, and Africans in our city were second class citizens in death as well as in life. They could not be buried within the city limits, and thus the Negro burial ground came to the final resting place of a distinct and unique community in our cultural history. As a city, as a society, we are all deeply ashamed of history of discrimination against the African people. Why do they keep calling us African people? It's crazy. In the video, I even talked about how in the old days, in the old, it said in the old papers, talking about the newspapers, in the old papers, it was called the Negro burial ground, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna get into some more. It says against African people. That's one reason why it is so important to recognize African culture and contributions. What has African culture contributed to American culture? I mean, because when you think about it, right? All of the daily inventions that you use, your refrigerator, the car engine, right? Pretty much everything that you use today was created by us here, Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we attributing to Africa as far as inventions that we use every single day? Like, make it make sense, because at this point, I'm starting to feel like they just don't like us. Like they just don't want us to be great. I mean,
Yeah. And
constantly wanting to give this to some Africans like that. That's not cool.
no,
That's not
not, they're not
cool.
saying this is. No, not saying this. It's Africa's better. Africa's better than you. This. This. They're not saying this is. Oh, wow.
Why do we? Why do they keep giving everything to? Like, what is this? What is the purpose? What is the reasoning behind all of this? Like, why can't we be great? You remember Trump came out. He said, "Make America great again."
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was the slogan, like reminding us to make us great again. But daggone, they always want to get. Well, I'm trying to figure out why they always trying to give all of our contributions to the world. Not just to some a couple of things, but actually all of the contributions to the world. And you want to give it to some Africans? Like, how is it African culture?
They
It
saying
just
they saying we for the streets.
yeah, what for the
We
dusty
we
streets?
for we for everybody.
Oh my goodness! It said against African people. That's one reason why it is so important to recognize African culture and contributions take every opportunity to learn about a people and a society that were never properly documented, and to treat these remains with a dignity and respect so cruelly denied during their lifetimes. What's crazy
Mm-hmm.
about this whole thing is people today from the modern continent known as Africa today, they don't even call themselves Africans.
Amen.
They don't even claim that they got African, that whole African thing and African culture. The old heads, they don't play none of that. That's some new stuff.
Mm.
That's some new stuff that new kids are doing on the block. They was not the old heads in the continent of Africa. They don't play. No, they talk about who they are according to their nation, their nationality. Has nothing to do with the continent of Africa. Most of them people don't even get along.
That's a fact.
I mean, they've been fighting wars against each other for years,
Mm-hmm.
way before even dealing with the Europeans. Like they didn't need the Europeans to come in and do nothing. They was already fighting with one another. So it's crazy that today in today's society they even say, they coin these terms like African society, African culture, African history. There's no such thing. These are fables and tales. It's not
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not real at all. It's just crazy to me that they even do it. So I want to go down here. This is what I wanted to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when I say landmark decisions, right, you don't need a landmark decision to foster an idea when you have districts and administrations and organizations like the Landmarks Preservation Commission, right? So this is the New York Landmarks Preservation Commission. And I want to go down here right here. It says, this is August 28, 1992. August 28, 1992. Says, Dear Congressman Savage, during my testimony on the Folly Square construction project and the historic Old Negro, listen now, Old Negro Burying Ground before the Subcommittee on the Public Buildings, I agreed to provide you with a list of designated New York City landmarks and historic districts of significance to African Americans. Do you see that in plain sight? I This is being done in plain sight. How they switched up. So it's the Old Negro burying ground to the significance to African American. That's crazy. They never had to go to court to get a decision on this. This is how slick they are.
Yeah, that's powerful. Now let's designate burial grounds. Jesus Christ. So your identity switched from what year to what?
This is 1992. So now you switch from Negro, from Old Negro,
Yeah.
not just regular Negro. So you talking about ancient Negro.
So so this is the new niggas. The African Americans, the new Negroes.
So from Old Negro to, oh, okay, hold up, here we go. It now you African American.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Shout out,
this is
shout
crazy.
out, shout out to Missy Jessie. Getting all the kickbacks.
Oh man, I know he get, bro, that African American, and that's owned by a Chinaman now.
So somebody claimed them. What is it called?
Yeah,
What,
African
claim
American.
rights to-
I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up.
Wow.
It's owned by the Chinaman now.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Well, he do. They damn near own everything African anyway.
Man, look, they own everything African. They done went over to Africa and
Clean the fuck
look,
up.
they came up when they went over to Africa. Do you hear me?
They still cleaned up.
Hey,
It's just some niggas import a continent.
hey, look, they getting that work in. They went over. They said, "Oh, let's try Africa because you can't get nothing done over there in America. Not with them. Mm-mm. Let's go on over to Africa so we can get popping. They got it popping. I'm telling you. When you talk about industry, hold on. Did you see just recently what Russia did though?
What they do?
Russia went and paid all that debt for South Africa. Like, come on. You don't want to be you don't have to take any. No, you ain't got to take no money from the United States anymore. We're gonna go ahead and pay you. Yeah, we're gonna pay your debt off. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about them no more. We got
Mother Russia.
you.
Mother Russia, sugar mama. Shit.
Your daddy ain't treating you right. It's okay.
Shit.
It's all right. I got you, baby. Come on over here. Let me.
Let me grape you like this. Shout out to What We Know podcast. Shout out to Red Lipstick Vibes. I make sure y'all hit the like button. Y'all can join us over here. The link is pinned to the top of the chat.
Indeed. Shout out to Red Lipstick Vibes. Oh my goodness. Quantum Man says, is this the reason we are supposed to be handling our social duties affairs of men, not allowing someone else to? Exactly. Not
Mm-hmm.
allowing someone else to. Keeping your private business in the private. Stop
Yes.
allowing all of your family business out here. This is a part of the Negro problem. Yeah, it's definitely, this is the major part of the Negro problem. Continuing to allow the world stage to be all up in your business. If
Mm-hmm.
Russia paid that off for South Africa, they was never supposed to talk about that. Why are they putting all that?
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's all to do with public policy. So let you know that this is a business deal. This is a public business deal, and like you just said, we're gonna grape you as much as we want to.
Absolutely.
It's
You
crazy.
already know. No Vaseline.
Oh my goodness.
And you and you better like it.
Ah, woo. Yeah, so they got it popping off with the whole man. They just further denationalize you. We're gonna take you from old Negro from to now you just African American. Wow. It says a list designated the New York City landmarks and historic districts of significance to African Americans and a list of designated burial grounds. I enclose these lists for your information. So we want to go ahead and remove all these skeletons
Mm-hmm.
out of this location. Because see, this is messing up business. This is a Folly Square. Y'all don't understand what Folly. Okay, so the Thurgood Marshall Courthouse is in Folly Square. All right. Um, yeah, Folly Square is where all of the, the issues that the citizens have against each other are deliberated
Mm.
in Folly Square. Yeah, there's courthouses on courthouses in Folly Square. That's all Folly Square. It's just courthouses. Several. So here it is. You are in Folly Square. And it's like, nah, we gotta move these remains. Like the ones that we uncover so far, we gotta remove them. We're gonna go ahead and put them in some other cemeteries that African Americans like.
So was it a mass grave?
Oh, it's
Or was
over.
it just burials?
They said it is a mass grave. It's over 10,000.
So this was
Over.
more than likely places that our ancestors was brought and they had the kangaroo courts, the rulers guilty, and we was executed on the spot and thrown in the hole.
bro. I don't even know how they was doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this: for it to be over 10,000,
Mm-hmm.
like over 10,000 is a lot of bodies.
Hello.
So that was a good portion of Manhattan, and they didn't want to continue on. Like I said before, they didn't want to continue on the excavation. It's like, no, we got to stop because if we got to put this information. If we excavated it, we got to put the information out to the public. So it's like, oh no, stop all that. You're not about to be digging up all of Manhattan. Yeah,
Shit. Jesus. Man.
yeah, you messing up all of the church's money. You're not about to be doing that.
Shout out to the church.
So yeah, so it's like, okay, look, we got these skeletal remains. We're gonna go ahead and bury them, and with the African American, wherever the African Americans want us to bury them. And this comes off of the back of many of these people that have perpetuated this understanding that we actually came from, like I always say, the modern continent of Africa, when in the mid 1500s, that place wasn't even called Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until 1700s where they started calling the whole continent Africa. But back then, in mid 1500s, this place wasn't even called Africa. It was a small portion at the top of the continent, and it was no bigger than the state of Georgia. So yeah, we gonna I want to go back to I want to go back and watch. We're gonna play another video so we can see like who is a part of pushing more and more of this false information, like these falsehoods.
Mm-hmm.
It's as if they want us to constantly, just relish in this whole idea of being African, and this whole thing about the Africans and how much uh, we adore them and how much they adore us, right? So I'm gonna play a little bit of this video. Shout out to House of Consciousness over there with Sarnetta, because he's dropping this knowledge for us all so we can be able to watch. So this is a video, and I'm gonna play a little bit of it with brother Reggie, and he's gonna talk about how he is in support and how his master teachers have supported this whole this African American burial ground.
Great. It's gonna be stressful.
It's extremely stressful, like beyond. Like I don't even know how we got here, but yeah,
Soon
we.
as soon as I hear as soon as I hear Brother Reggie, I start getting at it.
Ah, man, shout out to Reggie, because he gonna make sure you don't know. He gonna make sure you know. You gonna learn today.
Okay.
You gonna learn. You ain't African today. You
See,
gonna be African after talking to brother Reggie.
and they let the nigga get streamed on too. God damn.
Brown in New York, we're looking through three empires: the Dutch, the British, and the Americas. The problem is when we study history, is we should study history. The problem is other groups begin to insert a pseudo history in real history, and without you having the tools to digest these subjects, then what happens, unfortunately, is that you get lost because you're doing your day to day, feeding your family, working, and et cetera, et cetera. And then there's people like myself and others who have a love for our history, and we engage intellectually um, with people who are Suedos. Um, so I'm just walking you through the resources. I don't want this to be really, really long, even though it's really, really important, and try to get some really important concepts out. Um, to our audience. So let's just move on to some of my resources. Now, there is the African burial grounds that I talked about that is in the City Hall area, right? Is in the city. This is in the City Hall area. Let's just look at this map again. Where's the map? Yeah. So it's in this area right here, and it began roughly in the 1700s, right? And then this burial ground, here it goes right here. Let's see if I can blow up my screen just a little bit. Uh, this burial ground started here in this particular area right here. If you ever went to the Wall Street area, here's the slave market, there's Maiden Lane. And so then um, that was one major site. And let me say this an important thing again is that remember.
Now you hear him trying to put us together with the slaves, right? He made sure he said, here's the slave market. Now we know that slave originally meant Slav, right? And we know that we definitely ain't we ain't got
Right.
no Slav in it. We
Okay.
there's no Slav going on over here. So, the constant programming of wanting us to believe that we were these Slavs, right? That we were the Slavs, and we were Slavs who was brought here on some ships to work in the European colonies.
Group burials were commissioned by the church, and so there were many churches, and slave masters would have their slaves buried in sometimes around family plots, and sometimes in the designated burials for Africans. And the reason why I said that is because most people do not know that there's another burial ground in New York. It's around Christie Street. It's called St. Philip's Cemetery. And this is what I'm talking about, roughly church commission burials. In 1795, after the closure in 1794 of the African burial ground near Duane Street and Broadway, the African Society, now watch this, the African Society, not the Hebrew Society, these are the African people of various different ethnic groups formed themselves in the African Society as the city of New York, and it was granted.
Ooh, shout out to Reggie.
So they still beefing with the Hebrew Israelites.
He put the emphasis on.
I see. He meant that. There's some sass on that. Okay.
Oh man, he put his chest out with that. He said, "Not
Really?
the Hebrew Society,
Mhm.
the African Society." Oh my goodness! Shout out. Oh my goodness. Okay, shout out to What We Know podcast coming in. All right, let's get it.
JT, what's up?
Property on the west side of Christie Street near between Stanton and Riverton. You're going to have to really take the work that Rob Bourne and True Story do because they are probably the leading young scholars on the African American experience. They have it on the tip of the tongue, like I have other related studies or Africa, pre-dynastic Africa, Egypt, Nile Valley. That is where I did a lot of my work, but I have certainly done African American work. One of my first papers in City College was in the history department was on Lord Dunmore's Ethiopian Regiment. So I started in my field in computer science, I always took classes outside of my work just to keep my brain working. So I took a class from a professor named Huttenbach, who is a vanguard in the old gate of City College and was really a adversary of Dr. Leonard Jeffries in the Africana Studies Department. But I took Huttenbach's course and I wrote a paper on Lord Dunmore's Ethiopian regiments of the early, the British trying to fight the American Revolution and trying to break the ranks of the Americans who were using Africans as part of their military, tried to bring them over to the British side and offered them slavery. Anyway, the African Society, a group composed of about 30 free Black Episcopalians, established the grounds as a burial place to bury Black persons of every denomination and description, whatever in this city, whether bond or free. Trinity Church, the city, and various individuals aided the society with money to purchase the 50-foot by 200-foot property situated to today's Christie Street. So just in 1826, ownership of the African burial grounds for Blacks in the city was transferred to the trustees of St. Philip's Church, which was founded in 1809 as the first African-American Episcopal parish in New York City. The cemetery consisted to serve as a burial ground for the city's Black community, and although the actual number of burials is unknown, it is estimated that 5,000 individuals were interred there. In any case, in 1835, the rector of St. Philip's Church reported, "Our cemetery, which has been in use for 40 years." Ironically, the pastor of that Episcopal church was Father Harvey. Um, Father Harvey was, when I was a Christian as a child, he was my reverend in Castle Hill Projects, and he got the appointment of the Trinity Church, I mean St. Philip's Church, and he did some articles on the slave trade. So even though at my early formative years, to about 16 years old, I was 15 years old, I was an Episcopalian. Um, the same reverend got transferred, and then he began work on slavery. And I just find that so ironic. My life is really, really ironic. My uncle, Alfred Pearson, he married Ruby Turner. This is Nat Turner's great, great, great granddaughter. My
Miguel, you see how you trying to act like he one of your family members, right?
See, I don't like people like this. I don't. This, you know what I'm saying? And you're not. We wouldn't accept you. Yeah.
You see how he just came in and threw that in, right? So he gonna try to connect himself to Noble Drew Ali and
I can't stand these niggas. Do you see why I just be aware? Because I've been up cussing these niggas out. Like, listen. First of all,
that was
we
slick. He was slick with it.
and Natasha, shout out to Natasha mentioned. You see why I don't like light skinned people? It's
Shout
stuff
out
like
to
this.
Natasha Benson for coming through.
I mean, like, what you mean, buddy?
Ah! Oh
That
my
man
god!
got
You know what? Y'all kind of do look light skinned together. Let me put
okay.
your picture up next to
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I can see the
Now
resemblance.
now we're getting out of control at this point. It's stressful.
Ah,
Let me strike this.
man,
Let me
Reggie
strike
just
this from the
dropped.
record.
Shout out to Dr. Reggie for dropping those
How
bombs.
many greats did he say? My great granddaughter.
Oh
Nigga,
nah, y'all.
that's 7
No,
generations.
he said his grandfather. Yeah, that's yeah, y'all real close. Turners. Uh-oh.
This is, this is like skinned it. No, I will not have it.
He was serious. Like he's starting to drop family names. Like, hold on. Let me give y'all a little bit of my genealogy,
It
because I
sounds a
know
little
who I
Umar.
am.
Sounds a little Umar Johnson-ish.
Oh my goodness. They got my Uncle Umar out here looking like Barney. I said, why they do my uncle like that? Sukiyana. They know they have to do my boy.
Ha! Not Suki. Don't bring Suki into this.
Oh, but yeah, Dr. Reggie, now he's gonna go and ramble about his whole life. Nobody cares. But shout out to the Turners. But yeah, he's basically breaking down how this Negro burial ground is in Manhattan, and how they are and have always upheld this quote unquote African burial ground. How they oh my goodness. Donations.
Gifts. Gifts.
He
Donate.
showed up. He was like gift card to Applebee's. Applebee's gift card.
It's the part where he started shaming people. So you should have sent more. What? Or Red Lobster.
Ah, he balling out of control. Y'all better stop
You
playing with
should,
my uncle.
he got a Red Lobster gift card that he gonna use. Somebody should slide up on him and be like, "Is that white meat, brother? I know you're not eating the white meat, brother. I know you're not eating the white meat, brother. I know you're not eating the white meat, brother." How you eat on the people?
Oh my goodness. Oh, Uncle Umar.
You
Mm-mm.
putting the white man sea roaches in your body, brother?
Yeah, I love my Uncle Umar. I can watch Umar all day. Like, bro, did he really say that? Yes, he did.
Donations.
Gift cards.
I know, man. That's your fault. I'm blaming you for everything that we're doing. Take full responsibility.
So, shout out to Dr. Reggie. Reggie Turner.
Why he look
Okay.
like he got? Why it look like he got fingerprints on his glasses from here?
I think that's the light reflection on it.
Like the
Yeah,
kids got to it.
it could be, Reggie, he just pop up like who won it? He always look like who won it.
Look like he got
Like
breath.
he always got a question like, I
He
don't
got
know.
breath fog on his glasses from his eyes, and I
Oh
don't want
my
to be part of it.
goodness. Not Dr. Reggie. That's Reggie Turner. That's your cousin.
I'm not. I'm not playing this game. I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm not. I'm not doing this with y'all. No, nothing look like that is a part of me. You know what I'm
That's
saying? Like we're not
Reggie
connected.
Tunica. He looked like a Tunica. Stop playing.
That's outlandish. He definitely look like a Johnson.
No, he looked like he looked like a Tunica. Like that's
This
that
is
Tunica right
this is
there.
malarkey. This is malarkey. This is malarkey. This is. Matter of fact, go ahead and say that. I'm about to feel a sale with you.
Oh man. Go on. Shout out to shoot. What up, cuz? Cousin
Yeah, all
Reggie.
right. Yeah, all right.
All
Yeah,
in
all
the
right.
family.
You not part of us losing the debates like you lost. We
Oh
undefeated
my
around here.
goodness.
Well, around getting washed. We don't do that.
All in the family. So here go the what he was showing on the the Negro burial ground. Um Here it is, because they claim that it's African burial ground, but on like the man was saying on the video back in the day, it was called the Negro burial ground. I don't know how they changed it from Negro to African. I don't know where they do that at.
They did a DLC.
Man, they did it by the land. There's a land grab. So here it is right here. This Negro, where you see the flag, white flag at. This is the Negro burial ground.
Mm-hmm.
So before they started building on top of it, they always knew it was here. There's no way that you got 10,000. You see how the size of it? There's no, you ain't got 10,000 bodies right there.
Mm.
Yeah, ain't no 10,000 bodies right there, fam. No. 10,000 plus bodies? No, not at all.
In other words, y'all brought bodies from somewhere else and put it right there.
And I think this was a designated place for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a designated place for it. And I believe that it was not just here, but it was pretty much all over this whole location. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
all over this location. I think this was a designated place, and they started to bury them there, and then it just moved outward through time
Mm.
because they didn't think they were going to need that much of a space for a burial ground. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But back then, according to the time frame of when somebody would die, they said, okay, yeah, this will be enough space for a burial ground or a cemetery. And then, like I said, over time, they started to just spread out. Because if you got 10,000 skeletal remains in this right here, that means that most of Manhattan is skeletal remains, not no 10,000 right here. Now, right for the 400 right here, yeah, we can do 400. 10 over 10,000? No, fam, that math ain't mathing.
My antennas go up when I hear stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the math ain't mathing. Shout out to Lady Navoya. Am I
Naboa.
Navoa?
Naboa. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shout out for coming through. So it's funny how he talked about, he kept talking about Ethiopia and Lord Dunmore. Ethiopia and Lord Dunmore. When you know good and well that Ethiopia was over here. I'm gonna share this map. We got receipts. We don't
Okay.
just talk about it. We do what we know around here. You know Ethiopia, right? This is the Mardu Ethiopia village, Ocean Ethiopias. So he know that Ethiopia was really over here because America is the true old world. I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
they keep trying to make us go to somewhere and make the world believe in this reconstructed history that everything started somewhere else. They know this is Atlantis. They know that it got popping off over here.
Amen.
Ugh. They want to block my map now. Stop playing. Oh man, they want to block my map. Y'all gotta stop playing. Don't block my map. Hey, kick me out. Don't block my
what?
map.
Wait. What
Amen.
year was that map? What year was that map from? What state that was
Oh
from?
man. Oh, they don't even want me to show the map. I got it down. I'm gonna say the map. Hold on. I can't
Save
even
it
get the map. They don't want that. Oh, let me save it. That's crazy.
there. Antenna patch.
Yeah, they said won't be no map today. Not today, you won't.
Hmm.
Oh, you think you're gonna get that off today? Mm-mm.
What year is that map from?
Hold on. This is 1650.
Mm.
circa 1650. John Jason, Mardi, Ethiopia. Yeah. America, Ethiopia. They know what it is. It says selling the South Atlantic. Description: selling the South Atlantic. Striking example of Jansen's sea chart of the South Atlantic showing the coastlines of South America, Southwestern Africa. They always got to drop some Africa something in it. It's crazy. Oh man, they don't want me to show my map now. They don't want me to. Hold on, let me go back out and come back in. I normally live stream at night. I don't never be having these problems at night. They don't want you to get nothing off during the daytime.
That's when they hackers be woke. All right, make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. You see the Cash App running at the bottom. $ Crystal Glover L. Please support the channel. Yes, what we do. We do research. Research takes a lot. It takes some time. Can't wait for her to come back with that map though. Oh shit. My day. I stayed chased my day. Hey man, Drum. You really did sit there and change my name, bro. The light skin crap. It's all like light skin people could be changing your name. And light skin people stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I might go live. Everybody that's on my channel, I might go live a little later today. Gotta address some ghetto-ness. Shout out to the Moors, to the temple, everything, the Moorish movement. Shout out to the Saracens. You know, we up. I'm literally here doing like a million of my things right now. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, it's weird being on StreamYard and it's not your StreamYard. Because you can't do nothing but talk. So we yeah, please share it out if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, please share it out. This information is going to be brought through. I know it's a little probably different from what people used to, but it's what real research look like. So we got the receipts on top of receipts on top of receipts here. Okay. All right.
You saying it right. And she's trying to pull them up right now, bro.
Okay.
She's trying to pull up those receipts.
Indeed. It's echoing. Yeah, that sounds crazy.
Go ahead and share with us, Brother Miguel, about your show a little bit while we waiting on her. Because she says it's going to be a minute.
Okay, yeah. So my show is about right now has been being ghetto. I was on the channel yesterday, and but it's a lot of things. I've been kind of stockpiling. I got a list of like 100 something videos to make. In addition to like all the clips, I got a clip from my different shows and stuff. I'll get into a lot of mindset stuff, but I have to kind of put on a clinic of patience, which isn't my it's not my forte. You know what I mean? It's not something I'm not in patient. So shout out to Brownie Ellie. What's going on, beautiful? So Satan was yesterday.
Y'all be having fun on those shows, though. I be tuning in. Y'all get to say what we can't say as North American Muslims.
Yeah, I ain't supposed to say it either. Yeah,
when I'm on Clubhouse, you're like, man, hey, Miguel, he kind of, you be considered as PG on Clubhouse. You're PG.
You gotta Oh, nail bang.
I still got an echo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you playing the stream while on the stream, so
Yeah.
it's gonna pick it up. So you probably got it on another.
Okay.
All right. You still got an echo? Okay.
You gotta talk. But
All right. Shout out to Brownie Ellie. Thank you for coming in. But yeah, that is the thank you for holding it down, Miguel. It is like I said, it was 16, what did it say? 1650.
hmm.
So even in the 1650s they knew where Ethiopia was. I mean, we can't keep making this stuff up. We can't keep pulling all this information out. We can't keep providing all these receipts and the world act like they don't know what's going on. They been knowing.
Absolutely. And this what?
Yeah, you see it. I'm gonna put it up on the screen again. Hopefully they don't kick me out.
Okay. Mardi di el Altapiria.
Yeah, that's all you, Miguel. You know, I don't do no. You know,
Mhm.
I don't do old English and I don't do Latin.
Yeah, all English definitely sucks. Mardi. Yeah, that's so they're like AE thing is called a diphthong.
Mm-hmm.
Delpia. Oceanus. What is that? Uh,
Ocean.
the I was looking at the next word. I was yeah, ocean, right?
Yeah, ocean. But
Yeah, got
yeah,
that.
brother Reggie, Dr. Reggie, know he a doctor, so he know.
Shit.
Yeah, he a doctor. He know good and well that Ethiopia was right here.
Hmm.
I mean, he kept talking about, Lord Dunmar's, Ethiopian regiment. Lord
Yeah,
Dunmar.
when they be at the agent meetings, they be telling them stuff.
We got the agent meetings.
When you
Now
know they
that
gotta be debriefed.
what's the agent meetings now? Break that down.
Uh
What's the agent
you
meetings?
know, the CIA they meet together and they, you know what I'm saying? They said these are particular things we don't want. You know, when they bring this up, you gotta, you know, Agent Reggie,
Oh my goodness. This is the Agent Reggie. Shut
Agent
up.
Johnson.
And that's cuz right there. Agent
Yeah, yeah. He look Arab to me, to be honest with you. But we gonna
Nah,
go.
he looked like a tunica. Don't do
That's crazy.
that.
That's crazy. You gotta relax. You don't
Ah,
look like us.
you just gotta relax
Uh
with that. So yeah.
uh
Cousin Reggie. Shout out to Cousin Reggie. Came through with it. But yeah, he made sure that we knew. So we talking about this word Negro, because they know who, when they say Negro, they're not talking about Africans. All right. Let's go to the use of the terms Negro. I'm gonna share that on my screen. The use of the terms Negro. Let's see here.
mm,
So the use of the terms Negro and Black to include persons of Native American ancestry and
mm-hmm.
Anglo American by Jack D. Forbes. All right, so when you want to learn more about like American history, definitely Jack D. Forbes is one of the ones who started putting this information out early. It says in 1854, the California State Supreme Court sought to bar a non-Caucasian from equal citizenship and civil rights. The court stated, and this is the reason why you got one person in all of California, one of the descendants of the family members in all of California that's going to actually get reparations in California, because they already knew before they even started with the commission to do the research, because it had already been done before years prior, that it was only one person that ever was listed as a slave in California. All right.
Mm.
So it says in 1854, the California State Supreme Court sought to bar all non-Caucasians from equal citizenship and civil rights. The court stated the word black may include all Negroes, but the term Negro does not include all black persons.
That's crazy.
What?
That's crazy. That right there is wild. What?
Yeah. The word black may include all Negroes, but the term Negro does not include all black persons. We are of the opinion the word Negroes, we are the opinion that the words white, Negro, mulatto, and black person, whenever they occur in our Constitution, must be taken in a generic sense, because these are all badges and titles that don't mean anything in law.
Hmm?
Says that the words black person in the 14th section must be taken as contra, distinguished from white, and necessarily includes all races other than Caucasian. So in California's legislation and constitution, white don't even mean Caucasian,
Hmm. Hmm.
because white is a status. So it ain't got nothing to do with nationality or ethnicity at
Damn.
all. None. Let you know right here, 1845. You already knew white ain't had nothing to do with no pale skinned Europeans from Europe. Nope.
Never.
Said the word black may include all Negroes, but the term Negro does not include all black persons. Crazy. All right, so I want to go down some more. Let's see. The possibility that Native Americans were quite commonly called Negroes is very much supported by Portuguese usage. During the colonial period, Brazilian Indians were repeatedly referred to as Negroes or as Negros de Terra, meaning terra means the land, right? So meaning that you were from that land,
Mm-hmm.
which is Brazil.
Yep.
So when they said Negros de Terra, right, it means that they were saying that we were from here, not from anywhere else. It further says Negroes of the land. A great many examples from the 16th and later centuries are cited by George Frederick in his analysis of Portuguese sources. These do not have to be repeated here, but suffice to say that it was so common that finally in 1755 a royal decree had to be issued as follows. Among the regrettable practices which have resulted in the disparagement of the Indians, one prime abuse is the unjustifiable and scandalous practice of
Mm.
calling them Negroes.
Mm.
They had to put out a royal decree. Stop calling them Negroes. We have a nationality. It says perhaps by so doing, the intent was no other than to induce in them the belief that their origins they had been destined to be slaves of whites. Remember, white has nothing to do with an ethnicity or a nationality. So whites is a status. So it's talking
Yep.
about being a slave to a higher class of people. It says as is generally conceded to be the case of blacks from the coast of Africa. The directors will not permit henceforth that anybody may refer to an Indian as a Negro, nor that they themselves may use this epithet among themselves as is currently the case. Not only can you not use the term Negro when you talking about us, but yeah, they can't either. I mean that's Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. There's never been any Negro a part of the human family. Paraphrasing. He said that we are not Negroes, black persons, colored people. I mean, that's Act 6 in the Divine Constitution of Bylaws, the More Shane's Temple of America says we are teaching our people that they are not Negroes. Never been.
Amen.
So here it says, shout out to Miguel. He said contra. He put the definition of contra: against, over, against, opposite, on the opposite side of the contrary, contrawise. They knew that we wasn't. They knew when they first seen us, when they tried to put that whole uh Indios on us,
Yep.
which mean India and Indian.
Playing the name game. Trying to
Play
teach
the
people.
name game.
Definitely playing the name game. I'm trying to get people to see how they did it then, they did it now. How can, if the U.S. military is, uh, if the military has jurisdiction, if the U.S. military exists and they are in other countries, what will allow the military, that U.S. military that is not a part not a part of that other country, what will allow them to be able to execute citizens in that country? By playing a name game, by calling Iraqi nationals or Iraqis, what is it? What do they call them? Um, what's the word?
Terrorists,
Insur- insurgent.
insurgents,
Insurgent.
terrorists. Mm-hmm.
So they'll call them something that they aren't, so they can do something to them that they shouldn't be able. They wouldn't normally be able to do.
Badges of slavery.
Mhm. Something we just witnessed. That's brand new, at least from a historical standpoint. So, right?
They're gonna put these badges of slavery on you, man, for real. Like it's
In a heartbeat.
crazy. And they've been knowing that. I mean, it was a royal decree out 1755. Don't call them Negroes, and y'all don't call yourselves Negroes.
Indeed.
1845, California. No, all black people ain't Negroes. All Negroes ain't black people. Matter of fact, Negro, colored, white, African American, whenever you see any of these badges, it's not even real. It's the opposite. Don't even pay it no mind. Because it's a
Mm.
fairy tale. And white person, that's a status, fam. That ain't got nothing to do with nationality and ethnicity.
It says
Mm-hmm.
The Portuguese use is extremely significant. Not only because American or part American slaves could be referred to as Negroes, part American slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in early shipment records, but also because it very much affects one's analysis of population statistics in colonial Brazil. Wow. So it's directly relating this misnaming to fucking up, messing up, records and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where, in fact, the categories of Negro and mulatto must have often included domesticated or enslaved Indians and mixed bloods.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm telling people the bad is everywhere out here. Y'all not from no boat. If you are, it's the boat you made here.
It's the boat you made. Facts.
That's terrible.
Facts.
Yeah. Welcome to the world class.
Man, so they said that um well, it's the African slave trade, we're all from Africa. And that's the cradle of civilization. I'm like, the cradle of civilization, how make that, what is the proof other than current social engineering that Africa is the cradle of civilization?
It's 100% evidence that it's not, even from a public information standpoint, because the oldest records that they have is in Iraq, and they admit that. Old Sumerian, not in Africa.
So here is I've been trying to figure this stuff out because we got the oldest water in the world. Let me share this. The oldest water in the world, the world's oldest water lies at the bottom of a Canadian mine and is 2 billion years old.
What about it banging? I'm tall. You drink that. You hear that, Natasha? You run the oldest water. Go get us a bottle real quick. Send us some.
The oldest water in the world. It says the discovery pushed back the date of the oldest known water by at least 500 million years. The previous record was held by water found in the same mine by the same team back in 2013. Come on, y'all, with these daggone
Trying to get that money.
man. So it says, and came from a depth of around 2.5 kilometers. The mine is, fact, the deepest basal metal mine in the world. And the search for copper, zinc, and silver is taking the mines deeper and deeper into the Earth's crust. The oldest water in the world is in Canada. Okay.
Amen.
The world's oldest forest is in upstate New York.
Hmm.
First trees preserving the world's oldest forest in upstate New York. This is from Binghamton University. In 2009, he was scouting out the area with colleagues Linda and Frank for a potential field trip. Nothing unusual since Phlebotomists have been visiting the former highway department property since the 1960s. The famous Gilboa fossil forest discovered a century ago is a short jaunt up the road from Cairo, New York. Something seemed out of place. His trained eyes spied wandering gutters in the stone, a feature common to marine rocks, but even in the middle Divion, Divion period, the swath of land that one day became Cairo wasn't at the bottom of the sea. He traced 11 of the lines to a single point and then realized that they showed the roots of an ancient and very large tree at a time when forests were still new in the world. By tracing root impressions, researchers have been able to map out the world's oldest forest tree by tree, a forest 2 million years older than the one in Gilboa.
Hey.
So, how is it again that the cradle of civilization is in Africa? It's not. It's impossible. Most of your vegetation and fruit life is from here. Let's go to it.
Hey sis, I gotta run. I'm definitely being in chat.
All right, peace. Thank you for looking out.
Always.
Make sure y'all definitely go over to the world class. Like I said, he is always going live. He's always sharing a video. Has really good discussion on there.
Appreciate you.
Anytime. You found your cousin today. So here it is. This is Americans' Ancient Civilizations. Americans' Ancient Civilizations by Hyatt and Ruth Verrill. Right, so let's go to the foods. Oh, y'all gonna make me borrow? Okay, let me borrow it for an hour. Give me some time. All right. Here's some of the foods. Right. Also displayed in the markets of the Aztec capital were strange fowls, thus birds, right? Strange birds, vegetables and fruits, some of which were destined to alter living conditions throughout the world. For untold centuries, the Mexicans had domesticated the wild turkeys, the muscovy, and tree ducks, and had cultivated maize, beans, cacao, vanilla, potatoes, peppers, tomatoes, pineapples, squash, pumpkin, and many other vegetables and fruits entirely new and unknown to the conquerors. So if the conquerors are coming, so they claim that the conquerors all came from Europe, and Europe had already conquered what they call Africa, right? So how is it that all of these foods are new to the conquerors that already conquered Europe? Conquered Africa. Make it make sense. The reason why it doesn't make any sense at all is because America is the true old world. They didn't know anything about tomatoes, pineapples, squash, pumpkins, peppers, potatoes, maize. That was the first domestic product that fed the entire world. Yeah, so they can never make that a thing now that all of us are waking up. And if you want to stay asleep, then you just gonna stay asleep. But ain't no way. There is no way. Not at all. So we're going into this um, Negro problem. And they knew for a long time that Negroes weren't blacks and blacks weren't Negroes and had nothing to do with being whites and all these other. They knew good and well. But it's past time for us to wake up and know and actually apply our true nationality. So the same way that you had the New York Landmark Preservation Commission, the same way that the Portuguese up until 1755, the same way that Brother Reggie, and even in the video I showed earlier had the Rothschilds, the same way the Rothschilds, and all these different institutions and all these so-called master teachers and master scholars and all these different organizations, no matter how much they program us to believe that we are from a place that we're not, no matter how much they continue to put this African badge on many Americans that have always been here, many of us aren't from Africa. I had someone say something to me the other, yeah, matter of fact, it was yesterday, about how they said it was disrespectful that I would say that most of us didn't have any ancestors coming from Africa, and how they were from the Caribbean islands, and there was revolt after revolt because the slaves did not want to be slaves, and they were brought there from Africa by the Europeans. This is what they call the European slavers, quote unquote. And so I showed them this because we got receipts. We not just going to ever talk about anything, but we going to be what we know, right? So I showed them this. Put this up on the screen for y'all. Because I let them know that it's not just about talking about, because they say you need to go and do some history and read some slave story narratives, and there's a lot of learn about the slave ship voyages, and I'm like, fam, I know all about slave voyages, and I know that whole 1619 project is fake. It's not real. So the 1619 project is not real. We didn't debunk that plenty of times over. The whole I'm about to come out with some more of these man. When you get into these slave ships and you start to see, man, these people been lying for a long time. There is no way that you was able to come over here in them little boats. That's what I'm gonna call them. There's no way you was bringing hundreds of people in those little boats. Not them boats. Not them those boats. No. Mm-mm. Some 20 and odd Negroes. Some 20 and odd Negroes. That sounds like a vacation. That don't sound like a slave ship. How is it that that slave ship only had 20, but all the rest of them got 400 or 500 on those little boats? So here it is, the early history of the Creek Indians. All right, it says in 1750, the Yamasee War broke out and is commonly supposed to have nearly exterminated the ancient tribes of South Carolina. One early authority stating that some of the Corsa boys, along with the Congarees, Santis, Siwis, Pedis, and Waxawas, were utterly extirpated. But I quote this statement merely to refute it. I quote this statement merely to refute it because they wasn't. As a matter of fact, remnants of nearly all the ancient tribes persisted for a considerable period afterwards. In 1760, there was a short war between the colonists and the Santi and the Congaree Indians. The Etowah took part in this contest on the side of the whites. Who's the whites? Because the whites ain't the colonists. Who's the whites? Who's the whites? The whites had to been another tribe. Had to be. Had to be. Yeah, the whites ain't definitely ain't no pale skin Europeans. Those are the Slavs. And they just came over here to work. I mean, they were bred, they were breeded. Honorable Elijah Muhammad said they were grafted. Yeah, they were grafted to be a slave race. That's why they were just called Slavs, aka slaves, which is the same thing. Look at the etymology. So it says the Etowah took part in this contest on the side of the whites. Over half of the offending tribes were taken prisoners and sent as slaves to where? The West Indies. This is called an example of evidence of the intra-American slave trade, because that's what it was over here. It was the intra-American slave trade. Let's go back to the Pequot Wars. Remember we went over the Pequot Wars and how the first slave on the campus of Harvard name was the Moor, and they said most likely he was enslaved during the Pequot Wars at that time. Because whoever you was born with, you know what it is. You get the booty. Whenever you at war, you get the booty. Whoever get the booty, now they're gonna go and slave. Either keep the people as their slave class, or they just sell them off. See, they've been doing this. This is nothing new. We didn't just wake up one day and say, this is what we're gonna do now. We want us all to just be about this today. So here we have the first Reconstruction Act of 1867. Because that's why we're in the situation that we're in today. So here we go. The first Reconstruction Act. It's March 2nd, 1867. Because in South Carolina, you had all of our tribes. North Carolina, you had our tribes. Right? Virginia, Maryland, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. These were all our down south governments. And for those who's a little slow in the back, we have the map for you. It's the barbarous tribes east of the Mississippi. 1491. It's 1491. Remember, it said 1492. Columbus saw the blue, supposedly discovering America for the first time. Nobody knew about it. It said nobody knew about America. Columbus came and, he just had an epiphany. The barbarous tribes, or the Barbary tribes, or the Moorish tribes, right? Because we're going off of the etymology of the word. These are the tribes east of the Mississippi. Shout out to Dallas D for coming in. That's right. Kiana Manning said, yes, construe the language to gain a legal interpretation to their liking. You can do whatever you want to your property, a divine warning by the prophet for other nations. That's right. Whatever you want to do to your property, you can do. So the barbarous tribes, which we already know is right here. Ethiopia is over here. Cairo, Egypt is over here. Everything is over here. The oldest water is over here. The oldest forest is over here. Come on, y'all. Wake up. So the first Reconstruction Act, this is March 2nd, 1867. An act to provide for the more efficient government of the rebel states. Because by this time they took over our governments that we had down south. Remember, down south is where most of your nation's agriculture is being cultivated. So the north is like, y'all gonna have to pay us more in revenue and taxes. And so I was like, no, y'all get all y'all raw goods and materials from us to even create the final goods in the northern factories. No, we're not doing any of that. So there was a great rebellion. They called it the Civil War, but again, there was never a war declared by the president or Congress, ever. However, they perform all war acts on us. Shut down our transportation. water and rail and land. These are acts of war. Took over our forts. Acts of war. You know how it's a thing for everybody to go and start to practice and participate in Juneteenth every year now? That was a takeover. You know, the federal government took over the fort at Galveston. It said we taking all the industry up out of here, and we sending it to Louisiana or New York. That's what they said and did. We taking your industry, we taking your money, we taking your slaves. Again, slavery had nothing to do with black or white. Never, ever did it, ever. Slavery had everything to do with industry. And the first slaves of the world were the Slavs. That's why their name is Slav, aka slave. So, an act to provide for the more efficient government of the rebel states, whereas no legal state governments or adequate protection for life or property now exists in the rebel states. No protection for life or property now exists in the rebel state. Now, y'all know this is against the Constitution, right? This is unconstitutional. This first Reconstruction Act is unconstitutional. Because the Constitution and all the states' constitutions is to protect and uphold your property, your private property, your private decisions. It says, whereas no legal state government or adequate protection for life or property now exists in the rebel states of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, Texas, and Arkansas. And whereas it is necessary that peace and good order should be enforced in said states until loyal and Republican state governments can be legally established. The great takeover, we taking it over. We're taking it by force. This is the union now. This is the great union that we was taught in school that was so great and did so much for the quote-unquote Negroes who were slaves. Be it enacted that said rebel states shall be divided into military districts. Y'all think that military districts stop? Look at it. Do you really think the military districts ever stop? Be it enacted that said rebel states shall be divided into military districts made subject to the military authority of the United States as hereinafter prescribed, and for that purpose Virginia shall constitute the first district, North Carolina, South Carolina, second district, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, the third district, Mississippi, Arkansas, the fourth district, and Louisiana and Texas, the fifth district. We were in military districts until Prophet Noble Drew Ali came. Took us up out of those military districts. And you got more to this day. Keep trying to put us back into these military districts. Morris told us in the 2020 census, oh, Morris, make sure that you fill out the 2020 census and make sure you put that you're African American so we can all get the money that we need. What? And I had been telling them Morris since 2017 that I knew that census was coming up, and I knew if we started in 2010, Morris was going to definitely forget about it come 2020. Something. Look, we 3 years out. Let's go ahead and start getting Morris galvanized because we need to do our own census. That's not a part of the Bureau, the Census Bureau. That's not a part of the military Department of Commerce because we're not to be enumerated. We were never to be enumerated. We were never supposed to be a part of those census. Oh, we need to be in the census, and not only do we need to be in the census, but we need to put down we African American. Are we for real? These supposed to be leaders, teachers, in the temple now. Oh, but no, we gonna go in. They got something else going for us. Further put us into these military districts as Prophet Noble Drali already took us out of these military districts with the states. Says section 2, and be it further enacted that it shall be the duty of the president to assign to the command of each of said districts an officer of the army, not below the rank of brigadier general, and to detail sufficient military force to enable such officer to perform his duties and enforce his authority within the district to which he is assigned. Who do you think the officer is today? Who is he today? Who is issuing what you can do, what you can't do, what you're supposed to, what you ain't supposed to do in the military districts today? Well, according to the constitutions of the states, the commander-in-chief in each of the constitutions of the states, of the Union states, so wouldn't that be the governor? Isn't that the governor? It ain't that the governor, y'all? Am I tripping, or is that not the governor? Shout out to Black Man Unfiltered Network. Thank you for showing up. It's the governor. Look at your state constitutions. Tells you that the commander in the chief over the military districts is the governors of every state in the Union states. Right? The governor is the one who issues out military orders for the state. Section 3, and be it further enacted that it shall be the duty of each officer assigned as aforesaid to protect all persons in their rights of person and property, to suppress insurrection, disorder, and violence, and to punish or to cause to be punished all disturbers of the public peace and criminals. And to this end, he may allow local civil tribunals to take jurisdiction of and to try offenders, or when in his judgment it may be necessary for the trial of offenders, he shall have power to organize military commissions or tribunals for that purpose in all interference under color of state authority. Color of state authority. This is a color of law. That means it's not real. It is not enforceable, whether it be state constitution or federal constitution. With the exercise of military authority under his act shall be null and void. Section 4, and it be further enacted that all persons put under military. We think about all of your family members that's ever been in prison, that's in prison right now. When they went to Galveston, Texas, right, off this Juneteenth celebration, they went to Galveston, Texas, and they said, you don't have to work for your old slave, your old slave masters anymore. Matter of fact, we're gonna give you a day's wages of this amount, that amount. You're gonna have 3 hots in the cot. We got you. You under military jurisdiction now. You're a military slave. They took all of our industry, stole our lands as much as they could, tried to force us out to Oklahoma as much as they could, enumerated us in their census. So we see it today and we wonder why. Why are we constantly being gunned down, being murdered for doing nothing? Because you got a cell phone in your hand. You're buying a cigarette. You're wearing a hoodie with Skittles and a drink in your hand. You paid for something with a fake $20 bill. You in a park with a fake gun as a child. You sleeping in your apartment, minding your own business. So how is it that every time you turn around, you can continue to be murdered? And there is no legislation that has been passed. Remember, they tried to get the George Floyd Act passed and defund the police. And no, you're not getting none of that. You better take Juneteenth and that's it. And the crazy part is we really believe that that's a celebration. In our minds, they went and took our families, industry, and lands. Now, at that time, Galveston, Texas, that was large amounts of cotton being grown. So we're going to take all of your cotton and we're going to send it to Louisiana or New York. We're going to take all of the money that you had, all the land that you had, we're now putting it under military rule and into military jurisdiction. But they don't teach us any of this in school. No, you're not going to get the defund the police. You're going to get Juneteenth celebration, and you better be happy with that. You're not getting nothing else. You're under military jurisdiction. You're under military rule. So every time we see you, and it said that if you were, let's see, go back up to 3. Said that it shall be the duty of each officer assigned as for said to protect all persons in their rights of person and property, to suppress insurrection, disorder, and violence, and to punish or cause to be punished all disturbers of the public peace and criminals. This is what they was calling us, because we're fighting for our land that we've always had. Going back to South Carolina, it said that the ancient tribes of South Carolina, this is 1750, was taken. Several of them, because they was warring with each other, several of them was taken to the West Indies. Don't you know that South Carolina is a part of the West Indies? The province of Carolina. Originally, Bahamas was a part of it. Bahamas is in the West Indies. I know they try to make it seem and appear that all of us wasn't connected, but we've always been connected, whether you've been in the Caribbeans or if you were on the mainland. This is America. We've always been connected to each other. We've always been here. You don't think that you don't think it's a coincidence that everyone in the world wants to come to the United States of America and live here? But they want us to go to somewhere that we ain't never been from. It's crazy. I hear people say all the time, well, my DNA says that I'm from Ghana. It says I'm from Yoruba. It says I'm from all. How can you be from all of these African nations when all of these African nations have never in history have mixed with each other? They don't even like each other to this day. They don't get along. They've always warred with each other. There's no way possible you getting these DNA these DNA reports back stating that you from all these different nationalities. Impossible. These nationalities never mix. They don't believe in mixing. You are disbarred. It's like you're sent into exile if you don't marry a native of your land. Shout out to Dub Will for coming through. Y'all don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. So yeah, this is the first Reconstruction Act. This is 1867. Remember, you have the 1866 treaties that went on before this Reconstruction Act. So some of us was down for the treaties, some of us wasn't. The ones that wasn't down for the treaties, because they didn't get enough of us a part of the treaties. Those who wasn't down for the treaties is like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go on out to Oklahoma. And mind you, Oklahoma was already built up. We was already in Oklahoma prior to the 1800s. We had businesses and everything out in Oklahoma in the 1700s. You can see that we had businesses out there. Like we had real brick and mortar buildings. We did this whole. We lived in teepees and all. We wasn't living in teepees. Montezuma Castle was right here. Montezuma wasn't living in no teepee. So how is it that we went from having great empires like the Incas and the ones that they call the Mayans to just living in teepees though, and being these hunter gatherers? No, that wasn't us. No, it wasn't. That's Hollywood. That is a reconstructed period. There was a time that they had a lot of writers to be able to write. Check it out. It's called the Federal Writers Project. During the Great Depression, they had to put the writers and creators in performing acts. They had to put them to work because they was out of work. That's a large part of the workforce. So I had to put them to work. So he said, hey, write. What are you going to write? Rewrite history. It's no coincidence in the 70s you got Roots. Here it is. Alex Haley was sued and they won because he plagiarized that whole story, made us believe that his grandmother was queen and all this other nonsense. A bunch of foolishness. I'm going to put the link in the chat if anybody want to come up on the stage. Yeah, so that's what we in today. The first Reconstruction Act. We're still dealing with the first Reconstruction Act to this day. So here it is. I'm in Illinois, right? And this is this was 2020, March 2020, the governor. Show you how this worked. Because it's still going on. So here it is, 2020. Governor Pritzker announces statewide stay-at-home order. If you don't believe that you're not in a military district, you're not under military rule, go look at the date that the governor of the state that you live in put out the same order. It says stay-at-home order to maximize COVID-19 containment. Ensure healthcare system remains fully operational. Chicago, following the advice of lead public health experts around the globe, Governor J.B. Pritzker announced today has signed a statewide stay-at-home order aiming to keep new cases of COVID-19 from rapidly increasing and ensure the state's healthcare system remains fully operational to treat patients in the need of urgent care. The order takes effect 5 p.m. Saturday, March 21st, 2020. In addition to stay-at-home provisions, it also orders all local government units across the state to halt all evictions and bans gatherings of more than 10 people. This is a military order. The governor is the chief. The governor is calling all the shots in every state. I don't care what state you in. That's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali came and did what he did to put us back, take us up from under the state rule, which is no more than the continuance of the dumbs verses, where you have the Pope rescinding it, the dumbs verses. March the 31st of this year, where he rescinded the dumbs verses, where he's calling off no more trapping for the church. Because that's what it was. No more killing people, taking over people land, stealing, plundering, pillaging. No more doing any of that in the name of the church. Y'all gonna have to stop that now. I know it's been since the 1500s, but we're gonna have to stop it now. It's over with. That's crazy. That's crazy. So here it is. We have the commander in chief putting out the military order, telling everybody what they can and cannot do. So it was a surprise to me to see um, Moorish Americans actually try to put us back in, try to put us back into under military rule. It was a surprise, but then again, it wasn't a surprise. And I'm like, y'all, do y'all really see what's really going on? Do you really see and understand what this is? And no, because Moors don't want to read and they don't want to research. They want to be listening to whatever their leaders say, what their teachers say. I tell everybody, please go research and search everything that I say. Do not take any of it face value. I am not the end all be all. I do not know everything. I am going to always slip up. I don't even pronounce words correctly all the time. So why would you just listen to what I say? So here it is. This is the bill text, Illinois House Bill 3766, 2023, 2024, and 103rd General Assembly introduced. Bill title creates the Illinois Moorish American Family Commission Act. And now, all of the states, all the governors has these quasi commissions and boards that the citizens can sit on and participate in, right? If the governor is if the governor is the commander in chief and you're under military control and rule, then why would you want to get back under it when Prophet Noble Charlie took you from under it by putting you within your own religious juridical society? All right, so it is creates the Illinois Moorish American Family Commission Act. Creates the Illinois Moorish American Commission to advise the Governor General Assembly, as well as work directly with state agencies to improve, expand existing policies, services, programs, and opportunities for Moorish American families, children, and adults. Guide the efforts of and collaborate with state agencies, including but not limited to the Department of Aging, the Department of Children and Family Services, the Department of Commerce, the Department of Economic Opportunity, Department of Corrections, Department of Human Services, Department of Healthcare and Family Services, Department of Public Health, Department of Transportation, Department of Employment, Security, and others. Now, reading all that, you're like, oh man, this is great. This is awesome. Wow. This would be great for the Moors. Right, sets forth provisions concerning the members of commission funding, addresses and reports, and oversight. Provides the administrative, technical, and staffing support for the commission shall be provided by the Commission on Equity and Inclusion, effective immediately. Right, and that sounds great. All that sounds great. Like, oh man, this is gonna be a win. This is gonna be awesome for Moors. But why do we keep integrating ourselves into a burning house? Michael King, aka Martin Luther King Jr., said that, I've integrated y'all to a burning house. Like, why do y'all want to keep going into a burning house? Prophet Noble Charlie came in the 1920s and took us up out of the burning house. And y'all keep wanting to go back into this burning house if y'all don't wake up. The governors of every state gets to oversee and tell you what you can and cannot do. We are private persons. private entities that we are supposed to be operating through. That's what the Moorish Science Temple of America is. I don't know why y'all continue to want to participate in being under military rule. So you wonder why you continue to go to prison. You're going as POWs, prisoners of war. Our children are constantly being gunned down and murdered in the street by the governor's military. And it's okay with you. It's okay with you. You know, because all you're going to do is you're going to go out and you're going to march if you do that. Or you're going to talk about how, they was Negro, colored, black, and Ethiopian. No. Let's look at some of these commission boards and commissions. Because I'm not just making this stuff up. So here's Illinois boards and commissions. Illinois boards and commissions. And you can be a part of any of these. Just come and sign up. So let's go to the Asian. Let's go to the African American Family Commission. It's the same thing as what the Moorish American Family Commission is supposed to be. All right, the purpose of Illinois African American Family Commission is to advise the governor and general assembly, as well as work directly with state agencies to approve and expand policies, services, programs, opportunities for African American families. The Illinois African American Family Commission shall guide the effort and collaborate with state agencies, including the Department on Aging, the Department of Children and Family Services. See, this is how they are able to come into your home and take your children and your grandchildren, because we continue to sign up and participate in this folly. The Department of Commerce tax you how they want to tax you. Because every time you go to prison, you are given a penal sum. Yeah, there's a tax for all of the crimes that you commit is a penal sum of the tax. So you go to court, you ask them, well, what is the penal sum of this charge? Oh, we don't everybody started to get the stutter. We didn't. Yeah, I know that it's. What do you think? What do you think a charge is? What is a charge? Let's go. Let's go to charge Investopedia. A finance charge is the total amount of money a consumer pays for borrowing money. This can include credit or car loan, credit card, or a mortgage. Common finance charges include interest rates, origination fees, service fees, late fees, so on and so forth, so on. All right, let's go to the etymology of charge. Charge, early 13th century, charging to load, put a burden on, or and fill with something to be retained. From Old French charger, to load, burden, weigh down. To load a wagon or a car. To load chorus, two-wheel wagon, car. The sense of entrust, command, and accuse all emerge. The sense of entrust, command, and accuse all emerge in Middle English and were found in Old French. The sense of rush into attack, bear upon, and from the 1560s. The meaning, impose a burden of expense, is from the 14th century. That of to fix or ask a price is from 1787. The meaning of hold liable for payment, enter a debt against it is by 1889. The meaning filled with electricity is from 1748. So charge a debt. You got to pay the penal sum. So the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, Department of Corrections. Here we go with the charges. The Department of Human Services, Department of Healthcare and Family Service, Department of Public Health, Department of Transportation, Department of Employment Security, and others. This shall be achieved primarily by to improve and expand existing human services in educational and community. We daggone sure don't want their education. So down in Florida, they decided to put in their education system that slavery was actually good because the slaves got to learn everyday skills that they were able to use in the workforce once they were freed. So it was a good thing to be a slave. This is the state now. So yeah, none of their African American family commissions, Asian family commissions, none of that, any of these family commissions have any say so on the legislation that the governor approved about what they're going to be teaching the children in the school system in Florida. Says this will be achieved monitoring and commenting on existing and proposed legislation and programs designed to address the needs of African Americans in Illinois, assisting state agencies in developing programs, services, public policies, and research strategies that will expand and enhance the social and economic well-being of African American children and families and facilitating participation of and representation of African Americans in the development, implementation, and planning of policies, programs, community-based services, and promoting research efforts to document the impact of policies and programs on African American families. Again, the governor is in charge. These are the governor's boards and his commissions. So the African Americans got one. The Asian Americans got one. See? Asian American Family Commission. Let's see how many family commissions there are in Illinois. And so we got African, Asian, and then you got the Children and Family Advisory Council. So you just got African, Asian, and now the Moors want to have theirs. Moorish American Family Commission. To be under the thumb and the rule of the governor, who is the commanding officer in chief of the state. Per the Constitution. Look at your constitutions. Where you live, where you domicile, where you reside. Look at these constitutions. It's going to tell you right there the duties of the governor. So the governor was the one who put this out. The governor is the one who gave this command, this military command. So, Illinois, like every other state, has a constitution, and under the constitution, right, you have the right to protect the protection of your private property. Your private property. Prophet Noble Drew said for us to create industry, to create and have our own businesses, right, under our own juridical society, not being under the grants and the privileges of the state. Come out of the Christendom rule. Because the state and the church is the same thing, even though they say church and state is separate. Not at all. The state is there because of the church. It was the church that sent out the orders to go and conquer all the lands that you see, whatever you want, and set up a church, set up a school, set up a treasury, set up a library. You seeing it? Because this is how it all started. They're not separate. In reality, they're really not separate. So private property shall not be taken or damaged for public use without just compensation as provided by law. So there has to be constitutional law that allows for your private property to be taken or damaged for public use. So for those who have set up their own trusts, set up their own families, estates, again, for those who need help with that, reach out to Maxim Enterprises LLC. I'll put the link in the chat. You can set up a free consultation. If you are active as a private entity, as a private person, the next time that the governor says, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Mm, 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 mm. You know how many parents right now are contemplating, like, dang, maybe I need to go and quit the job that I have and work from home because I can't, I don't want my children to, participate in any vaccinations, which is, it's cool. It's okay if that's not what you want. That's against your religious customs and usages. Like with the Moorish Science Temple of America, we gave out so many vaccination exemptions when the leaders, the heads of states was saying, you gotta do this. You gotta participate in this. Yeah, so private individuals, don't have to participate in this. You got private rights. The 4th, the 5th, and the 6th amendments within the Constitution for the United States of America protects your private rights. So you get the federal Constitution protects your private rights. Each state constitution protects your private rights. That's how I've been able to get so many brothers off of child support, because of private rights. Stop allowing the abuse of authority and power, the extension of military rule, to tell you what you can do and what you can't do. Because freedom ain't really free, y'all. Many of us think that we're really free because they have programmed it in us that we are the land of the free. Who's really free? Again, if you haven't set up your trust, reach out to us. If you haven't set up your family's estates, reach out to us. For those who would like to proclaim the nationality, Moorish Science Temple of America, you can reach out to us and put the link in the chat. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, I did everything I needed to save a nation. Now go save yourself. It is past time for us to save ourselves. We got to stop looking for Daddy Warbucks. Daddy Warbucks, the state, to take care of us. Again, shout out to the world class. Shout out to everybody that came and participated. Shout out to everybody that came and checked us out on today. We'll be back here next week sometime. I'm going to do a live either Wednesday or Thursday. It'll be either Wednesday or Thursday. I'll be back here to do another live. Until then, peace and love to each and every one of you. Enjoyed you all. Make sure y'all thumb up the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. Again, honors to the world class for always showing up. So it was somebody else. His Majesty, the Magnificent L, came through as always, along with our good brother Elwood Evans Ill, and shout out to Sister Dallas D for the $10 donation. Shout out. All right, peace and love, y'all. See y'all again next week sometime.